Padawans and younglings. Welcome to MaffmanJones Movie Reviews. I'm your host, John Maffio, and today's featured movie is the latest Star Wars movie in our little Star Wars reviews, me and Austin Putnam. Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3. Take a time capsule. Go back 2005. Remember the hype behind this movie. If you were alive when this movie came out, the hype was certainly real. It was big. It was the big movie that was going to show how Anakin Skywalker transformed into the Darth Vader, one of the greatest villains of all time in cinematic history. And guess what? This movie actually improves in many ways, and it is, certainly, as many others have said, the best prequel movie of the three. It's entertaining, it's got good humor, it's got good drama, moments of suspense, moments that you remember, and it's just a really decently nice setup for Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. As far as acting is concerned, I still have my reservations for Hayden Christensen among other actors, but I have to give credit where credit is due. Hayden, among other actors, who, some are good, some are bad, has some lines and some moments in this movie that are really well acted. He really does. The film has some moments where it actually allows the actors to shine and do things without actually saying anything, because a lot of dialogue in these Star Wars prequels is on the nose. Boop. But in this movie, there's a lot of scenes where things just happen, and you're allowed to feel emotion, the aggression, the anger within certain characters, and you feel it in some scenes. You really feel it. But then there are other scenes that continue the trend of the older movies, or Attack of the Clones specifically, where the dialogue is just so hammy and so stupid that coming out of Hayden Christensen's mouth, it sounds like it's a Saturday morning cartoon. Don't make me kill you! If you're not with me, then you're against me. No, it's only because I've fallen so in love with you. What? The action in this movie is really good. It's spectacular. The CGI holds up so well to this day. Over 10 years old now, and it looks amazing. The first action sequence is like a half an hour long. It takes place in space, and it concerns General Grievous, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and a couple others. It's a really good sequence. It's really suspenseful, it's got great action, some good humor from R2-D2, albeit they may drag, much like the other action sequences in this movie and the other prequel movies. The action sequences just, they have a good thing going, but they don't know when to stop. That's right, in my opinion, but when it is good, it's really juicy, and it's really fun to watch. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, you can get engaged in what's going on with these characters and the story, as far as action is concerned. I'm gonna get slightly nerdy for a second here. General Grievous. He could have been a really cool side villain in this movie, but if you watch the cartoon Clone Wars episodes that came out before this movie came out back in the day, General Grievous has a backstory which is really cool, and he's like the Jedi killer. He kills everybody. He is ruthless, he is dangerous, he is one of the scariest, most formidable villains in the Star Wars universe. Then he gets his heart, like, punctured. It damaged him completely, and it gave him this really awkward cough. And he's still powerful in this movie, as evident by his battle with Obi-Wan, but he's like going around This movie just makes him look cool, he looks cool, and he has a moment of coolness, or a couple. But other than that, he's just whatever. It is really fun seeing this movie connect to A New Hope, and seeing things that you're familiar with, the Death Star, General Tarkin, the Star Destroyer Bridge, stuff like that, just things that you recognize from the older movies. Seeing them in a more modern movie, it was cool, and they did a good job of making you go, woo, look at that, connections. As much as the fact that most of the movie is decent as a whole, it isn't decent, or in some moments great, without John Williams' music. John Williams elevates everything that he touches. He knows how to make awkward moments and cheesy moments seem grandiose, and he knows how to make really great moments without music seem even greater. Even though the film does have its drawbacks that bring it towards a level of mediocrity that was present in the first two prequel movies, there are moments of greatness, like I said, and some moments of greatness, in my opinion, include the scene of Anakin and the Emperor, before he becomes the Emperor, talking at the weird opera thing, also the scene of Order 66 where they kill all the Jedi. When I saw Order 66 when I was like 12 or 13 years old back in the day, that really affected me. I'm like, oh my god, they're killing all the Jedi in this really emotional, like, matter, and it really, really got to me. And it still gets to me. And aside from the whole last 20-15 minutes, as a whole, just leading up into A New Hope, the battle on Mustafar between Obi-Wan and Anakin, the big final fight, like I said before, it gets dragged out like the other action sequences, but again, it's well orchestrated, it's well choreographed, and it's a really fun, emotional, dramatic scene. But to finally wrap this all up in a nutshell so I can finally stop talking about the prequels and move on to the good stuff, the real good stuff. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is the best of the prequel trilogy. And part of the reason why maybe this movie gets so much great critical reception is because the first two are so bad that it makes this one look like freaking masterpiece gold in comparison. And it really is a valiant effort by all involved. You could truly tell it's a movie that really connects everybody. And if you're a fan of Star Wars, I think you should definitely check it out. Even if you haven't seen the other two, it's definitely the one you should check out if you haven't seen Star Wars. And if you're trying to get connected to the series, if you're going to have to watch prequel movies, watch this one. Because I actually honestly don't think you have to watch the other two. You can just watch this one and get right on board with what's going on. It's just really emotionally dramatic storytelling that actually has some fun in a good Star Wars way. For once, it's actually a fun movie that has dark dramatic moments. How they couldn't do this from the first two? Third time's the charm, right? I don't know. I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 3 a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a darn good Applebee's meal. And now, let's move on to Austin's review. What did you think of the movie, Austin?
Welcome back to part 3 of MaffmanJones and I's Star Wars movie reviews, and leading up to The Force Awakens. We've gone through The Phantom Menace, we've gone through the worst of The Attack of the Clones, and finally, we're at the decent one. We're actually at the good prequel. So Revenge of the Sith is the third Star Wars movie in the prequel trilogy. It's technically the 6th one altogether, but this is the third prequel movie. And finally, we get the story that we've been waiting for. Anakin's turn into the dark side, aka him becoming Darth Vader. It's about damn time. Alright guys, so let's get into Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, I don't know what it was, because with the first two Star Wars prequels, it's as if George Lucas forgot how to make a Star Wars movie. Good dialogue just wasn't there. It was all wooden. The battle sequences were horseshit, except in the Episode 1, of course, the final battle with Darth Maul, and Episode 2, with the arena fight. There wasn't really a great standout sequence throughout the prequel trilogy, wherein Revenge of the Sith, there's actually really good moments. It's as if George Lucas finally had that part of his brain connect and he said, oh my god, I can do this now, guys. And oh my god, he did a much better job of making this a Star Wars movie rather than just a political movie. Episode 1 was more of a political movie with some Star Wars elements of it. It was not a Star Wars movie whatsoever. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, was honestly a romance movie. However, in Episode 3, there's actually some of those moments that we get from... Now, again, I'm not comparing this to the original trilogy because the original trilogy are masterpieces. I would say minus Return of the Jedi because that one is just a good one. But you guys get where I'm going with. The moments in Revenge of the Sith are what separate it from the other two movies. First of all, Hayden Christensen. Okay, seriously. Now, I've given him a lot of crap throughout for Episode 2. I will say, though, he's actually better here than he was in Attack of the Clones. Lucas was able to finally tell that story, and he was able to make it a good movie. Yeah, I'm saying it. Yeah, I honestly think Revenge of the Sith is a good movie. But yeah, the best parts of this movie, without a doubt, are honestly, the scenes where he is just either staring out and you just hear the ambience or just the score going through the areas. Like, one of my favorite parts of the entire film, even though this doesn't have to do with silence, is when Anakin and Emperor Palpatine are watching this concert going on and they hear the story of Darth Plagueis. Now, I'm not gonna lie, as soon as I heard this story, I was obsessed about looking up stuff about Darth Plagueis. That scene alone is my favorite part of this entire trilogy, minus the battle scene at the end, but anyways. I love those scenes in general of seeing Anakin carry out Emperor Palpatine's deeds. Ewan McGregor completely owns his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is literally the best thing about the prequel trilogy. The best thing. I love the opening action scene where Anakin is fighting Count Dooku, which was a great scene. The CGI I thought is also miles better than the prequels. Seriously, I mean, of course, the scenes where they're walking and talking in hallways still looks like crap, but And other certain scenes, it looks so much better. The Mustafar in general, Mustafar alone is a much better looking CGI creation than I think in the entire prequel trilogy. I love the final battle sequence between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Did it go a little long? Yeah, but when it starts off, it's just ferocious and everything. Now, I do wish there was actually some dialogue, but my favorite moment in that entire fight was when they were just like swinging their swords around, not hitting each other, and then they tried to use the Force on each other, and you could tell they were actually like kind of acting through their faces. That dialogue is just acting through their faces, and that's another thing I have to say right here: acting through your faces, not through dialogue. I think this was the very first movie where George Lucas finally allowed the actors to act through emotions in their face, not their dialogue. Because again, a lot of the best scenes in this prequel trilogy, when they're happening that is, are the scenes where it's just silence. It's just silence. Again, like the scene where Anakin kills Count Dooku, the scene, his face. Also, when he kills the people of Mustafar, him looking towards the camera, seeing the eye color changing. Scenes like that are what make this prequel trilogy somewhat redeemable. And I cannot believe I just said that. As much as I hate the prequel trilogy, I will say this: there are a lot of scenes that make this trilogy somewhat redeemable in Star Wars fans' eyes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still hate this trilogy, but it's this movie alone that has a lot of redeemable parts, honestly. I absolutely love the scene when we finally see Darth Vader finally come out, but then it's ruined when he screams, "No!" But we should say that. The shot that always honestly gives me chills is the shot where you see the Darth Vader mask coming towards Anakin. I love that shot so much. Now, don't get me wrong, even though this is still the best one out of the prequel trilogy, it's not a great movie by any means. It's a good movie, but it's not great by any means. Seriously, there's still a lot of problems. The dialogue still needs a lot of work in these prequel trilogies, seriously. Like the scene where, oh god, when you see Padme coming out of the ship on Mustafar, it's like, Anakin, they're breaking my heart. It's like, Lucas, seriously, just allow her to just cry. And also the scene where Anakin looks at Padme when she's getting ready for bed. It's like, what are you looking at? It's like, you're so beautiful. It's only because I'm so in love. Oh no, it's because I'm so in love with you. Also, yeah, there are some battle sequences that extended on for way too long, like the Mustafar scene. As much as I love that scene, I love their fight, it just goes on for way too long. I also hate the moment. I don't like this moment whatsoever. I don't know what Lucas was thinking, because in the words of Aria Gold, silence is fucking golden. I hate the moment where afterward Darth Vader finds out his wife is dead from childbirth. He just says, "No!" Oh, God. Revenge of the Sith, honestly, despite all its flaws, it is literally the only good Star Wars movie in the entire prequel trilogy. It's actually not a bad movie. Not a perfect movie, but it's actually good, surprisingly. So I'm gonna give Revenge of the Sith, honestly, a 3.5 out of 5. It's honestly the best one in the prequel trilogy, guys. Alrighty, guys, we are finally done with the prequels. It's about damn time. And also, I want to thank MaffmanJones once again for doing these reviews with me. Stay tuned for next month when we review, and when we start with the good ones. We start with the original trilogy. Thank God. But until then, we will see you guys next time.
Alright, that just about sums up our review of Star Wars Episode 3. Please subscribe to this channel, and also Austin Putnam. Austin puts out some great content, great reviews. We're still doing these Star Wars videos. It's awesome. Can't believe we're actually doing this successfully. It's amazing. If you enjoyed this video as a whole, please like it and subscribe to this channel as well, so you never miss a video from me ever again. Also check out Facebook and Twitter in the info box. I'm starting to stutter. I'm just really excited to review A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Finally. And that comes starting next month, September. Woo! I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones. Check out Austin Putnam's channel too, and we'll see you guys for the next Star Wars review and beyond. take care, and may the Force be with you always.